Greetings, everybody. My name is James. I am from the internet, and today we are going to be talking about the future. Now, we're a couple of weeks into 2022, and historically speaking, this is the time of the year where professional talking heads poke up out of their hidey holes like Puxatawny Phil and come at you with a bunch of predictions. What to expect in the next year? What's going on with the job market? What's going on with the stock market? What's going to happen in politics? I'm riveted. I'm on the edge of my seat. It's like we're coming back to the new season of a TV show after the cliffhanger just before Christmas. And you remember how awesome that fucking cliffhanger was? So surely people are predicting nothing but roses and sunshine and fairy dust for the next 12 months, right? Right? Okay, maybe not. So, what I thought I would do today is instead of making you scurry across the internet trying to find all these bold predictions, I thought I would compress them all and put them into one spot, burn through them real quick, and this way you don't have to spend a whole lot of your precious, valuable time as a member of the working class trying to find out which train is going to hit you first in the upcoming year. So everybody buckle up because you know this isn't going to be good. Sorry. Here we go! They fed America during the lockdown. Nearly 2 years later, many grocery workers can't make ends meet. That's right, we're going to start our 2022 outlook with Schrodinger's laborer. You know the people whose jobs are just so simple they don't deserve anything more than minimum wage, and yet at the same time, without them, literally the entire economy implodes. Yeah, those people. Let's find out how 2022's looking for them. The pandemic brought renewed attention to the conditions of hourly laborers who keep America fed and has led to wage increases in some sectors for the first time in years. Yet, while the vaccine rollout reduced the risk of becoming severely ill from an on-the-job COVID infection for many essential workers, it also led to a rollback of company policies and government programs that helped them make ends meet in the early months of the crisis. As a result, many remain in financial circumstances every bit as precarious as they were before the pandemic began. Please note here how this lovely constructed paragraph just cruises right on by people haven't gotten raises in years, and that it took a pandemic and workforces becoming completely obliterated before hourly employees were deemed important enough to get a couple of dollars an hour more for literally the first time in years as cost of living has continued to increase. Yeah, we're just gonna coast right by that shit like it's just matter of fact. Like, oh yeah, by the way, you know, people just don't get raises unless literally things are on fire. Really cool, yeah. This seems like a good way to start our 2022 outlook with that little reminder of how the press is going to report the plight of the working class for the next 12 months. In a survey of around 36,000 Kroger hourly workers in Colorado, Washington, and California, 42% of respondents said they relied on borrowing money from friends or family to pay for basic needs over the last year. 34% said they cut portion sizes or skipped meals because they couldn't afford food, and 14% said they were unhoused. Yeah, that's right, all those dirty homeless people that you hate seeing when you're driving around in your paid-off 3-year-old sedan and you're wondering what's wrong with these people and why don't they just pick themselves up from their bootstraps and, you know, go get a job? Yeah, guess what? A lot of them have fucking jobs. They just can't afford to, I don't know, pay rent. Kroger, the country's largest grocery chain, ended its $2 an hour hazard pay raise 2 months into the pandemic. Last year, as government stimulus payments dried up and rent moratoriums expired, Kroger opted to close stores in at least 3 cities that passed laws ordering hazard pay raises at groceries, shutting down 3 supermarkets in Los Angeles, two in Seattle, and two in Long Beach, where, in a statement at the time, Kroger cited the economic cost mandated by the local ordinance increasing wages by $4 an hour. Wow, things must be really tight at Kroger. I mean, imagine having to shut down entire stores because you were going to have to pay your employees $10 an hour instead of $8 an hour. Literally having to just cut off a whole bunch of revenue from your corporate bottom line just to, keep those stores from going under. I wonder how close to the margin Kroger's been operating. I bet you those margins are pretty fucking slim, huh? After ticking slightly upward from 2019 to 2020, Kroger's annual revenue rose 8% in 2021 to $132 billion. Senior executives each made $5 million or more in 2020, with CEO Rodney McMullen earning $22 million, double his 2018 salary. So, in case you're missing it, in between the lines, the fine print, here it is. If you're an hourly employee, expect to continue to get squeezed by your fucking wealthy-ass bosses for the next 12 months. They could totally pay their employees more. They just choose not to. Why? Because CEOs and C-level executives get massive annual bonuses if they return higher than expected dividends to the shareholders. And these corporations are infinitely more concerned with their shareholders than they are the plight of the average worker. And the same goes for the C-level executives and, well, a lot of these senior corporate management that doesn't even get the sweet C-level bonuses. Why? Because they're hoping one day they can get elevated into that position and then they can cash in too. And until then, well, the machine has to churn onward. Up next, a more macro view of the economy for all working class Americans, whether they be rich or poor. And yes, I'm chuckling on the inside as I say the words rich and working class at the same time. But I'm trying to be fair and inclusive here. Amid rising prices, American families fall deeper into debt. Oh, this is going to be another happy tale. Let's go. Higher prices are already taking a toll as consumers pay more for everything from groceries to gasoline. Household income is failing to keep pace with a higher overall cost of living. Over the past 2 years, median income fell 3%, while the cost of living rose nearly 7%, due in part to rising housing and medical costs. The basics, the things you need to live, like a roof over your head, or aspirin so you don't burn up and die from a simple fever. Yeah, those things. Yeah, those are becoming more and more expensive, while apparently overall wages are actually going down the shitter. Hold on, wait a minute, I'm gonna put on my surprised face. Yeah, that was it. Total fucking shocker. More than 3/4 of Americans, or 78%, have received some form of pandemic relief since March of 2020, which either went towards buying necessities, savings, or paying down debt. And yet, more than 1/3 said their household financial situation has gotten worse over the past year. After Americans paid off a record $83 billion in credit card debt last year, credit card balances are again on the rise, along with mortgage, auto, and student loan debt. Now, I may not be a financial genius, but this sure as shit looks to me like the people with all the money are squeezing the pores for every last drop they can get out of them. Again, there is no need to literally be punitive towards people living the closest to the margin. But the wealthy people do it anyway because they can, because profits are good, because if you have 12 houses, isn't a 13th house just that much better? I mean, if you own a yacht, sure, that sounds great, but, and stop me if you think this is wild, what if you got a yacht so big that it had a garage door on the bottom of it that went up and down to let you park your smaller yacht inside your yacht? See, a lot of you aren't thinking big enough, and I'd assume that's why you're not wealthy. It's either that or you just work 3,000% less hard than the average CEO because, I've been told that they're just really wealthy because they work really hard. So, I don't know, maybe bootstrap some more, y'all. Whoa, The past year and a half was already tough for the millions of Americans who lost their jobs. Now, we're faced with rising costs for much-needed items like food, housing, gas, transportation, and medical care. It remains difficult for many to catch up. Catch up, that's what we call being able to afford necessities. That's the stage of capitalism we're in now, where the working class catching up means that they can afford to have a roof over their head and 3 meals a day. Woo! This is wild. Y'all better slow down, okay? You need to lower that expectation bar. I feel like you're up here at like a 7 or an 8, and you probably need to be down here at like a 2 or a 3. And if you don't believe me, I'm going to keep reading this article and, you'll be here, trust me. The average U.S. household with debt now owes more than $155,000, or more than $15 trillion altogether, including debt from credit cards, mortgages, home equity lines of credit, auto loans, student loans, and other household obligations, up 6.2% from only a year ago. Well, it's really weird how that works, huh? I mean, wages go down and then debt goes up? I'm stumped. I really wish I had stayed in school and gotten that PhD in economics so I could, somehow figure out a way to connect those dots and figure out what the real source of the problem is here. The Conference Board is predicting a 3.9% jump in wage costs for firms, including pay for new hires. That's the highest rate since 2008. Wow, that sounds amazing, but hang on, let me break this one down for you here. Number one, the Conference Board. Yeah, this is a think tank in New York City of, bougie-ass white-collar business consultants who consult for other bougie white-collar businesses in white-collar industries like accounting and stock trading and all that other good shit. Number two, they're predicting a 3.9% jump, not in wages, but, quote, wage costs for firms, including pay for new hires. In other words, the majority of this expected 3.9% jump in average annual wages that they're calling for, most of this is going to come from white-collar firms in accounting and stock trading and insurance and other financial industry places, and the money they're going to have to spend to poach the white-collar college-educated people from other firms because there aren't enough people entering the workforce with a college education to take up the jobs, because people who struggle to pay for food and rent really aren't going to college to get a postgraduate degree in finance. So again, don't believe the hype. That 3.9% increase, it's not for you. Now, of course, struggling to pay rent, that falls under the housing umbrella, and here's some predictions for the overall housing market for 2022. Again, I can't imagine anything here is going to surprise you, but I'm going to run through it anyway, just because I'm really thorough like that. Higher mortgage rates and home prices are expected to moderate buyer demand as the erosion of affordability takes a toll. Holy shit, they really just said the quiet part out loud. Wow, I would have thought they were going to go with kid gloves, but no, apparently they're going full bare knuckles, so I hope that one didn't hurt because, damn. In addition, more for-sale inventory will likely be available on the market. More inventory is expected from 3 sources: new single-family construction, pent-up sellers who had delayed selling during the pandemic and will be ready to move in the spring, and borrowers who had exited from forbearance but continue to struggle to remain current. With more supply from new construction and existing owners relocating, new and existing home sales are expected to rise about 1% to 7 million sales, the largest number since 2006. So no, the market isn't going to cool off. And yeah, there's a couple things in there I want to touch on, but let me finish. With fewer buyers available to afford homes, we expect homes listed for sale will be on the market a bit longer, with fewer competing bidders, which should moderate price growth. The CoreLogic Home Price Index forecast has the annual average rise in the national index slowing from 15% year over year to just 8% year over year. That's increase in total price of homes. So no, it's not going to slow down at all. Now, let's review the highlighted horror. Borrowers who had exited from forbearance but continue to struggle to remain current. People who scraped together enough money to get a down payment, bought a house, and then got the shit knocked out of them from COVID as they got forced to not work or take pay cuts as the pandemic ripped through the country and the government did as little as possible to help support the working class. Yeah, all those people, they're going to lose their fucking homes. And what does that relate to? Oh, existing owners relocating, which is going to increase the total number of homes on the market. Yeah, you know where people relocate to when they're struggling to pay a mortgage and then lose their home? They relocate to their fucking car. Now, hey, I haven't forgotten about the rest of you. You know, the working class who are too poor to even be able to dream of home ownership. Yeah, don't worry, the capitalists got you covered on that shit too. Rent growth on single-family homes reached the highest ever recorded in the CoreLogic Single Family Rent Index in 2021, up 11% in the national index over the latest 12-month period. You know, the same period where the median American take-home salary dropped 3%. Yeah, rents are up 11%. I don't know, get wrecked, just work harder, sweaty. And now last, but not least, because some of you think I seem to shrink away from doing political coverage, hey, here's a little political prognostication of what 2022 is going to bring. I get dialed in, all you political heads, because you're not going to like this one. Why the president's party almost always has a bad midterm. You know, midterm, the thing coming up at the end of the year. You know, the president, that guy, the Democrat, Joe Biden. Yeah, I hate to tell y'all, but here's my prediction for 2022. History's about to repeat itself. Since 1946, every single midterm, with the exception of when the Republicans were dealing with the Bill Clinton impeachment, the first midterm after the presidency flips parties, that party gets their ass roasted in the House. Here, look, in 2018, the first midterm after Trump took office, the Republicans lost 40 seats. In 2010, just after Barack Obama took office, the Democrats lost 63 seats. In 94, 2 years after Bill Clinton claimed the White House on the back end of the Bush presidency, you lost 52 seats. So historically speaking, by percentage, Democrats are looking at losing approximately 53 seats in the House this coming midterm. So I don't know, all y'all politically active Democrats, y'all better get on your horse and start riding, because history is running up on you really fast and it's about to bite you in the ass. So what does all of this mean for you, the average viewer at home, the fellow member of the working class? Well, it means by the end of 2022, this country is going to be a lot more Republican, a lot more expensive, and your wages are going to go up very little, if at all. Your government programs are going to be slashed, your employment opportunities are going to be limited, and if things keep going the way they are, chances are it's just going to keep getting a lot warmer outside. So, everybody, I beg of you, organize, agitate, demand better, because you are about a millisecond away from the shit hitting the fan. And when that happens, it's a shit blizzard for everybody. So now is the time to dig in and don't move. Don't take less. Demand what you need to live, because if you don't do it today, there's a really good chance you're not going to be in any position to do it tomorrow. Until next time, my name is James. I am from the internet, and I am out. Peace.